Andrew Tate's great reinvention from scandal to pop culture power play. Andrew Tate, the self-styled entrepreneur, internet provocateur, and former kickboxing world champion, has once again seized the world's attention, this time not through scandalous soundbites or high-profile arrests, but by announcing an ambitious reinvention of himself as a pop culture figure and digital entertainment mogul. A move that has left critics wondering whether it is a calculated act of image rehabilitation or a genuine attempt at personal evolution, long seen as one of the most divisive figures on social media banned from platforms such as TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram for violating hate speech and misconduct policies. Tate has nevertheless maintained a massive following among young men who see him as a symbol of resistance to mainstream narratives. And now, with legal storms still circling around him, from human trafficking and rape charges in Romania to ongoing civil suits in the United Kingdom and the United States, he appears to be diverting global attention with a bold pivot into the entertainment industry, unveiling plans to launch a digital talent agency that he claims will amplify raw and unfiltered voices in music, comedy, and independent film, positioning himself as both patron and gatekeeper of controversial creativity. His supporters frame this as a natural extension of his brand. After all, Tate has built his empire by presenting himself as fearless, unapologetic, and unafraid to challenge cultural norms, but detractors see something more cynical, a carefully timed PR strategy designed to distract from looming trials, including a scheduled June 2026 civil case in the UK in which multiple women, including 2 ex-girlfriends and 2 former employees, accuse him of rape, coercive control, and physical abuse, charges he vehemently denies. Complicating his narrative further are resurfaced allegations from conservative YouTuber Lauren Southern, who claimed in her July 2025 memoir that Tate sexually assaulted and choked her unconscious. In 2018, adding fresh fuel to long-standing accusations that his brand of hypermasculine bravado masks a pattern of violence against women, though Tate dismisses these accounts as opportunistic fabrications intended to damage his reputation at moments of heightened visibility. Even beyond personal scandals, Tate remains embroiled in financial controversies, including the seizure of his £180,000 deposit on an Aston Martin Valhalla supercar by authorities investigating possible tax evasion, a development that has become emblematic of the tension between his flashy public persona and the legal scrutiny constantly dogging him. Yet despite these setbacks, Tate continues to master the art of spectacle, framing his life as a battle of good versus evil, a phrase he recently invoked in a $100 million lawsuit filed against TikTok and Meta, in which he accused tech giants of unjust censorship and demanded not only financial restitution, but also symbolic recognition of what he portrays as an ideological war between himself and what he calls a corrupt establishment. What makes this latest reinvention particularly intriguing is its cultural timing, as Tate appears to be tapping into the broader dissatisfaction with mainstream entertainment and positioning his talent agency as a rebellious alternative to Hollywood-perceived political correctness, a gambit that could resonate with disillusioned creators and audiences seeking edgier, less constrained voices. However, many cultural analysts argue that this is less about Tate empowering new talent and more about him attempting to launder his image through association with art, creativity, and youthful innovation, echoing the way other disgraced figures in history have sought legitimacy by attaching themselves to cultural movements. Still, in the high-speed digital landscape, where public attention is fickle and narratives can be reshaped overnight, there is always a possibility that Tate's pivot will gain traction, particularly if he leverages his global following into real-world events, streaming platforms, or viral content that blends celebrity drama with entertainment production. At the same time, the legal machinery grinding against him remains relentless, and the shadow of serious criminal charges is not easily erased by new business ventures or bombastic declarations, meaning his future will likely depend on whether he can sustain the balancing act between playing the role of a persecuted cultural icon and facing the very tangible consequences of his past. In this sense, Andrew Tate's story is less about one man's personal evolution and more about the modern media age itself, where notoriety and controversy can be converted into currency, where figures once cast out of polite society can repackage themselves as anti-heroes, and where the line between redemption and distraction is increasingly blurred, leaving observers to wonder whether Tate's transformation into a pop culture impresario is a bold step toward reinvention or merely the latest chapter in an endless cycle of spectacle, scandal, and self-promotion that defines his career and, by extension, much of today's influencer-driven culture.